A warm welcome to this beautiful episode once again. There is a certain song that I heard from Dolly Parton, and I just want to say it in words. That I am my father's daughter, I have his eyes, I am the product of his sacrifice, I am the accumulation of the dreams of generation, and their stories live in me like holy waters, and I am my father's daughter. And today we are having a physical, the one that I know, a Dolly Parton. And we want to hear the story because the book that we are having today is Yes, I Am My Father's Daughter. So we want to know the reason as to why the yes had to be there and the reason as to why she decided to, to relate the whole thing with the father. Thank you very much, my sister. Welcome to this Real and Raw Talk by Mercy. Feel very much warm because you are your father's daughter. And the father, I do not know the father that we're talking about, but we know our God. So maybe if you can tell us the reason as to why you decided to recognize yourself with your father.
Thank you so much for inviting me. First of all, my name is Elizabeth Mokamba, and I am my father's daughter. Thank you for that beautiful introduction. I'm really humbled. And just to start, my father, the father that I'm referring to here, is the biological father. Of course, we all have our father, God, but the father that I'm talking about in this book is my biological father. And I decided to relate with him at this level because after going through some, let me call it, I like to call it some emotional turbulence in my life. I reached a point where I put some pieces together and I said, okay, yeah, I'm going through this, but why am I going through this? It's because someone else is going through the same thing that I'm going to, and that was my father.
Wow.
Yes.
It is very much nice because I also love my dad too. It doesn't mean that I don't love my mother, but I love you too, my mother. But I love my dad. When I was just let me just at the back of the page. At the back, it is written. It is heartbreaking story about being lost in a world that is supposed to embrace you and wondering if you will ever be freed from your own worst enemy.
Yes.
Why is it so?
In this process of growing up, we have expectations and then we have reality. Now, this procedure, sometimes it's the adulting part. It's short, but it comes like in a third. It's like a rolling stone. It comes in a third. So when I'm saying it's a heartbreaking story, it's because it's not what I thought life is. When I was out here trying to grow up and do the whole adulting thing, I went through some things that I thought I should know how to handle them better. But life kept throwing punches. It kept heartbreaking me. And the society I grew up in somehow made me see that I am capable of handling life, but I wasn't. You see, so I had grown up in a society that embraces me, but without really telling me the truth, hiding the truth, showing me only the good part of life. What about this dark side of life? So when I was realizing this other part of life and realized I was on my own and I had to take care of it. So that's why this story it's a heartbreaking one, because it's someone who comes from a place where they thought they understand life, but when I realized I don't understand life is when all the emotional turbulence began. Yes.
Don't let me just ask. Yes, I am my father's daughter. And the emotions were very, like, they were overwhelming, right? Is it relatable? Like, you are having your father and at the same time the emotions are overwhelming, and I mean the turbulence where they were keeping on, like they were hitting you this side, that side, can we relate the two? And can you convince somebody that the emotions were there, and at the same time you are your father's daughter? What was happening?
So this is the thing that was happening. At the time, it was just immediately after college. You see, when I was away from a structured environment for the first time in my life. So when I was just out here free, I can do whatever I want, you see. But now I realized I don't know how to do whatever I want. So that's when I started looking back at my life. How have I been brought up? Was I given resilience to deal with whatever I will find in front of me? So at this time, I was having, first of all, I didn't know that me and my family weren't so, let me say, close. Like physically, yes, we were close, but in terms of just sharing that connection, that emotional connection, that when you feel something, you can just tell someone, hey, I'm feeling like this, or you want some advice, you're free to ask someone from your family. So I didn't have that, and I felt a very huge void between me and my family. And now, when you look at it, the head of my family is my father. So the first person who I feel that void to is my father. He raised me. He did everything right. He took me to school and everything. But why am I feeling like all of a sudden he's almost becoming a stranger? Because I'm now here in this world, I feel like I'm all alone. Why am I feeling this way? But at the same time, I came from this person. This is my father. So it was a really confusing moment, which came with a lot of emotions, which I can't even explain what I was going through on day-by-day basis. But so it reached this point. That was 2019. So it reached late 2019 in December, and we lost my father. When we lost him, so puzzles started coming in fast. You see, you can learn so much about a person in such a little time, and that is what was happening. So I learned so much about my dad in like a week or two, and that's when I realized, oh, these things I have been feeling for the past 2 years, it is because this was also happening to him. So it is at that point that I said, okay, now I understand myself. I am doing this because he did that. And that's when I said, I am my father's daughter. And that's when the title for the book came up. Yes.
Now, how are you in a position like to get all those information? Like, how are you able to realize all those things after the death? Now, who told you all those? Like, he was also like, he had he kept them inside him. Like, how did you know? And it was dead already.
Yeah. Now, before he died, he talked to a few people, including my elder brother. And I don't know, maybe he knew. You see, you can't tell. But he revealed so much in that period. He was sick for around 5 days. But everyone he talked to, between those 5 days, he left some information, some piece. He was leaving pieces of him. And then, of course, people talk, you see. And there is something, you could say something today, and then I remember it after 6 months because something has happened. So you could meet someone and they say, oh, your dad used to tell me this. Your dad used to tell me this. Your dad told me this. So that's how I learned. This person who was telling me, your dad was so proud of you. For them, they were just passing information. But for me, I was receiving information that I didn't know that affects me, that says, oh, really? He was proud of me. Yeah. So that's how I came to learn so much about him when he was no longer there and when he didn't tell me much himself. Yeah.
Now, how are you receiving it by there? Because, now these are the things that you ought to have had by the time he was alive. But now, you are getting them after that. Now, how are you receiving the message?
It was hard. It was on itself. It was a roller coaster of emotions on itself, because this is the person that maybe you have been looking up to, but again for the past year you have been feeling completely disconnected with. But now at this time, people are telling you all these things. Some are very good things and some are, okay. So it was emotional and hard to process, but I think I processed really well, because by the time we were burying him, I was okay with him. Yes, acceptance was there, because I had so much, and I pieced so much together because I related with what I was going through. Yeah.
Now, are you the only child? I mean, the only daughter in the family?
I'm not the only child, but I'm the only daughter.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Now, are you the only person who was feeling the disconnect, or everybody in your home?
After we discussed, after we opened up, because there's a part of the book where I say his death is what made us talk to each other and admit to each other that, we are not doing okay. So before that, I thought I'm the only one. That's why I didn't even want to disturb anybody. I don't want to tell someone, hey, I'm feeling this way, because I don't want to spoil it for you. You are okay. But after the death, after we talked about it and we became raw with each other, we realized everyone has been feeling some type of way. It might not be the same, but everyone was feeling some type of way, some disconnect in some way. Yes.
Something that we just want to pick here, and maybe that if only he could have realized and accepted earlier on that life, on that life is a roller coaster with its ups and downs, that people hit rock bottom and can always get back again. If only it could have come to the realization that it is okay to be imperfect and it is okay to talk about it. If only he accepted that it is okay to ask for help, and that is important to communicate. Whom were you referring to?
My father.
So does it mean that he was also like that? Like he wasn't even able to open up also?
Yes, and that's what we learned, because someone can go through so much and you don't know, because you are used to this person being the leader, being the head, being the one who solves problems. So you see that strong side of the person, you don't see the vulnerable side of the person. And again, they don't show you that vulnerable side because they are obliged to be strong for you. So when we realized that he kept too strong for too long until he broke. So that's why I was saying, maybe he realized that, but he couldn't do it. He couldn't just say, hey, I think where we are, we need to have a talk as a family. Because once you grow your family and you reach at a certain point, you want it to remain that way. And mistakes are made. Life is a roller coaster. Sometimes you're up there, sometimes you're down. So he didn't come out and say, I am going through this and I might not be able to sustain this. I need help in this and this. He kept being a father, and we kept seeing a father until when he couldn't do it anymore. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Now, what was the role? Because your mother is still alive. Your mother.
Yes.
No,
yes.
what was her role in? What was her role by the time all these things were happening? Like, were you in a position even to approach her and telling her, like, I'm not okay?
No, because I love my mother, but again, I think I didn't grow with that closeness. Oh, yeah. Yes. So even if I was going through something, I couldn't. I don't know. I never imagined that I could ask for advice. Like, it just never came up. I don't know how to explain it, but it never came up. So after the death and after we've opened up with each other is when we also realized that she has also been battling in the background.
Oh, even the mother?
Yeah, because she's the one with him at home. So she's the one who's seeing these things. As we don't see, we are seeing a father figure, but her, she's seeing more than that. And maybe she's seeing something is not right. But again, sometimes asking someone or someone wanting to open up to you it's hard. Maybe the way we grow up as Africans. Yeah.
Okay. No, at which point where did you reach in life and you felt like, now I need now to talk about it, and not only talking about this with my people, but talking about this in public? Because you can find that there was a rock that you hit. Then we are like, now I have to talk about this. Now, at which point did you nini likuhit kabisa mpaka ukasema, now I have to talk about this? Yeah.
I had thought about writing when I was going through those stress, when I'm just lying in bed and thinking, what am I doing, and all that. So first of all, I felt that I needed to express myself. But again, I'm not someone who just talks people. So how am I going to express myself? YouTube channel? No. I can't talk to people. How? Writing? Maybe. I can write because people don't see me when they read. They don't see me. So I started having that urge to write, because writing is what came as a measure for me to express myself. Writing was number one. These others could come, yes, but writing was number one. So first of all, I just wanted to write about my struggles, my life, just, like a motivational book, something like that. But now when my dad passed on, that was now a realization, like, okay, now I really have to write. It's not just talking about it. When I was meeting friends and say, yeah, I'll write a book. The next 5 years, I'll write a book. I'll publish one book. But now, when I learned about him and it connected so much with me, that was now the rock bottom. It's like, okay, now I have to get back up, because you can't go down anymore. They're at the bottom. So that was that was like a bang on the head. Like, now you have to talk about it, because you have no excuse anymore, and you have pieced this together, and you have a story to tell. So just do it. That's when I decided to do it.
So this is the first book, right?
This is the first book.
So the first book, meaning it is all about, like, when I'm at the cover, it is the journey of self-discovery, finding oneself, and a path of healing. So meaning by the time now you are writing the book, you are already healed.
I was on the path to healing. This book is one of the things I needed to heal.
Ask you the last question. I'm just choosing these paragraphs randomly. There was a place that you've written that does the pathologists know the difference between physical pain and emotional pain? It is the physical one that is known when one is dead. And sadly, there's a seldom no physical sign that will make the pathologist right. The deceased succumbed to depression. Do you mean that at times you feel like you are at that point that you feel that the pathologist, like you are, I don't know how I am relating to it, but I do not know why you just decided about like you going deep into the pathologists, and even without even coming back to the counselors, starting with the counselors, but you are deep into the pathologists. Why did you decide to like relating all these things with the pathologist, knowing about the pain and the emotional death?
So here's the thing. When someone dies, most people do the postpartum examination. And we did that for my dad because it was a rather, let's say, sudden death that people were not expecting. So I remember that day when the report came back home and I went to look for it. For me, a report seems like something, big, you see. Pages, introduction, conclusion. So when I went to that envelope, I took the envelope and it was very light. So I opened the envelope and took the report, postmortem examination report outside. And believe me or not, it was one sentence. And that sentence had two very sciencey words in it. So I had to cram those words because I didn't know what they meant. I had to cram those words so that I can Google them because I didn't want someone to catch me reading the postmortem exam. So I crammed those words, went somewhere else, Googled those words. And I remember what came out is something about in the brain, a hemorrhage in the brain, something about a blood clot being in the brain. So all that didn't make sense to me because someone is sick for 5 days. How come there is a blood clot in the brain? It didn't make sense. So I just thought my dad was going through a hard time before his death. Maybe it's the emotional pain that superseded the physical pain. But this pathologist who's conducting the postmortem examination on him, does he understand that maybe it's not that brain thing, or maybe it's the emotional something that made the blood clot go to the brain? I don't know. I'm not in medicine and I've never wanted to be in medicine. I don't know. So I was just wondering, is there a way that a pathologist can know, hey, this person, the problem is not physical? For example, people shoot themselves. The pathologist will say the person died by a bullet. But did they really die by a bullet? Something disturbed them until they took a gun and shoot themselves.
Yeah. Wow. Who am I to add something? Why, yes. What if you could have just written, I am my father's daughters? Why, yes? Like, is there anything that you're passing?
Yes. What is it? An affirmation. I am accepting. Whatever, the positives, the negatives, the strengths, the weaknesses, I am accepting. That's why there is that yes. Yes.
So, for me, I can say, yes, I'm his wife.
Yes.
My friends, I'm telling you, this is a very interesting book. At times you can see the word yes, but today I'm getting it in a different way, that when you're saying yes, actually you're really affirming whatever you said. How can we get these books? And on top of it, how much do they cost? And can we get them even online?
Okay. The book, I have the book in two forms, the hard copy and the soft copy. The hard copy is Kenyan shilling 700, and if you are outside Nairobi CBD, you pay for delivery. The soft copy is on a site known as Gumroad, where I sell in soft copy form, and the price of the soft copy is it's in dollars, $7.99. You can get the book by contacting me. I have social media pages: my Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Liz Mokamba. I have a Facebook page, Elizabeth Mokamba. My number is on there, but I can say it here.
Just say that is what you want to.
Yes. My number is 0712 788 377.
Just repeat it.
0712 788 377. You can call, you can text, you can WhatsApp. I will answer. You need the book tomorrow, the other day, you need it delivered, you need it sent via parcel. I do all that. So the book is available. Hard copy, soft copy. Just reach out.
Wow.
Yeah.
As we conclude, there was something that we started with something. And yes, we have to repeat it once again. Because if you can afford to miss this book, then you can, it is as if you are trying to affirm it that yes, you are not in a position to read. And you don't want to get more about this book. Let me just finish what Dolly Parton said. That I am the accumulation of the dreams of generation, and their stories live in me like the holy water. I am my father's daughter. Oh, I am my father's daughter. Elizabeth Mokamba today is affirming unto us that yes, she is her father's daughter. How many are you, like you feel that you've not been connected with your parent, your wife, your spouse, and you want to affirm it once again? You get that concept from here. You get that, even, how do you call it? The tips on how you want to affirm that you are your husband's wife. You are your wife's husband with the word yes. And yes, you're going to make it. If you need the book, just get the contacts. The contacts are from the ones that she has said. And if you want us to continue with the conversation, please comment, share this book, because this is the book that will run the world. If the father could have been around, this book could have not been there. But because the father is not there, this book happened to be there. We want to push the brand of the dad, the Mokamba, right? Yes. We have to prove it to the world that the Mokamba is still alive, yes, because she represents the generation, yes, accumulative of the generation. Up to this, I have to applaud you by saying it is a very good writings and you took your time. I have to.
Thank you.
Do you have anything, like any person there that is having maybe a person who is just like that, was like you, and you need to speak to that person and how this person can face it, maybe with a parent or whoever the person that is, any other person? Just talk to that person, because maybe she or he wants to hear it from you.
All right. This is what I can say. Yeah? Every situation is different. Every person is different. People are of different characters. People interpret things differently. Now, the first thing you need to know is to understand yourself, understand your character, understand how you respond to things, and understand what triggers you. Once you do that, you will be able to sort things or to engage in different things in the ways that you feel like will be of beneficial to you and the person that you are maybe confronting, because we all have some kind of problems. We are all going through some kind of something. This is life. There is always something going on. So the first thing you have to do is you have to understand yourself. That is what I call self-discovery. You have to know and understand yourself before you understand the other person. So strive to understand yourself first, so that you don't force some things to happen which maybe will never happen. And sometimes you need to protect yourself. when you see this other person is not responding the way you want to, maybe it's a way of telling you, you know, it's not your time yet to solve such kind of a thing. So just understand it. That is what I can say. Understand yourself, know yourself, self-discover. That's what I can say.
The English must be, they might be simple, but if you know, you know. Until next time.